Good morning, homeschooling moms and dads. Today is Tuesday, September 26th. Well, this is going to be part of my new series of Getting Homeschooled. And it's really just an encouragement and a little reading from a book that I am loving called A Gracious Space. And this is involved for the fall edition. So what I want to do is I want to read and then I want to recap and talk about some of the things that we can do as homeschooling parents to make our homeschooling experience maybe a little bit smoother and a little bit more fun and easy. Don't we make it hard on ourselves to try to make homeschooling something that it shouldn't be? We try to make homeschooling school for our kids, when in the reality, we don't want our kids to be part of the public school system, but yet we try really hard to make it exactly like school. So I've been reading this book and I've been sharing it on my Facebook page, Getting Homeschooled. And I want to start sharing it on my website here every day for anyone who wants to view it. The reason why is because I want to encourage you and because I need to be encouraged myself. I am struggling with a lot of things concerning homeschooling. Because as homeschooling moms, if you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, you know that this isn't just about homeschooling. This is about everything that goes on every single day. This means taking care of the home. It means cooking, cleaning, putting out fires, paying the bills, balancing the checkbook, making sure that everything is in order, that everyone has what they need. It means making sure that your spouse walks out of the door with a full tummy before he or she goes to work. It means that when they come home to a home that feels comfy and cozy and they don't have to worry about other things. It's providing. When they called this job a homemaker, that's exactly what we're doing. We're making homes. Do we have to be perfect? No. No, we can't be perfect. We know that. So we all need a little encouragement, and that's what I love about this book so much. I highly recommend that you get it. It's by Julie Bogart, A Gracious Space, and this is the fall edition again. If you can't afford it, I want to share it with you. And that means every day I'd like to share the daily readings and just discuss a little bit about how we can actually implement what she is saying. So let's get started. Today I'm on day 8, which is called a worthy investment. And didn't I just say this? We're all busy. We want shortcuts, easy explanations, to-do lists, and obvious, fast results. Isn't that true? Because we live in this world of we want instant gratification. We also find that we can't invest more than 2 or 3 minutes into something, whether it be a book, a blog post, or even a video. Most people say to me, I don't watch your whole videos. You go way over the 3-minute mark. That I can't pay attention to anymore. We have to start paying attention, and this is what this is about. Homeschooling doesn't work that way. It's an investment. It takes time, lots of time you don't have. When you decide to homeschool, you're choosing a degree program for yourself. You're choosing to become self-taught. You yourself are becoming a self-taught student as well. You're a self-taught student of learning, how it happens, under what conditions, using what tools, for which sorts of kids, in what subject areas. So you know that if you are homeschooling multiple kids, and I'm only doing one, then you know that you are trying to juggle many different balls at the same time. To get a quality understanding of the nature of learning requires reading. A lot of reading. Sorry. is on task to read email lists, homeschool bulletin boards, blogs, websites, curriculum books, the teacher's notes for any program you select, books about learning, homeschooling books about the philosophy of education, Charlotte Mason's education series, educators who have left the system to create new models of learning like Maria Montessori and John Holt, and more. You have to do it. Most of us want to. Some of us worry that it will take too much time. You can't think that way. If you get impatient, I don't want to understand the reasoning behind this program, I just want to know what to do. You will eventually be frustrated by that program. There is no do this and it gets done program. Each one requires knowing how to use it and what to do when there are blocks to progress. Trained teachers spend years earning degrees to understand how to bring about the aha that signals learning in the classroom. School has its own properties that require specific skill sets to create learning. Home has other properties. These need to be studied, tried, lived, revised, tested, and measured against new information as you receive it. It is worth it, absolutely, to read the intent behind the philosophy before applying the practices. If you are so busy that you don't have time to invest in training yourself to be a home educator, you must consider whether this is what you want to do with your life. Your kids deserve a parent at home who is well equipped to make learning an adventure that leads to joy and competence. They should not be subjected to drudgery. Schools at least provide activities, field trips, friends, and variety. We all need help. There's no shame in signing up for a co-op or tutoring, taking online classes, or swapping with a friend. She teaches your kids math and you teach her kids writing. You make decisions to involve others based on your philosophy of education, not because you don't want to do the work yourself. Even if you use a co-op, your involvement at school is critical. Parents of kids in school help their kids with homework every day. There are no shortcuts. When you triangle in help, involve passionate, competent people in the education of your children. I would rather have my kids learn how to shoot photos from my friend's husband, who is a professional photographer, than to teach them myself. I would rather swap math and language arts with my other friend, since she's a whiz at calculus and conveys passion about math, while I provide a similar experience with writing. But in no case is it advisable to simply hand a child a book and ask that child to work through it, without you exerting some kind of effort to set up the lesson or to structure a context that makes that work meaningful. I hear all too often that certain curricula, sometimes mine, which she's saying, are too dense with philosophy or explanation about why and how the process of learning works. The parents are busy. They want to get to the practices. But does that work really? What do you do when you barge ahead and the child winds up reluctant, resistant, or in tears? What do you do when the boredom of the daily practice turns into cheating, looking up answers in the back, just to get the work done? What happens when you get to a process in the text that you don't get that had perhaps been explained in the opening? There's absolutely no shortcut to homeschooling. It's an incredible undertaking of love and commitment. Whether you unschool or use textbooks, in both cases, a sturdy, ongoing investigation of how to problem solve and foster a love for learning will be your primary work for 15 plus years. It's great work. I loved it. Most parents who stick with homeschooling do. But remember, when you are tempted to take a shortcut, you may be circumventing the most important part of teaching. Understanding why and how to create the right conditions for learning to catch fire. Invest. The dividends are rich. So here's our sustaining thought. No shortcuts. Rather, an investment in your children and in yourself to learn and grow and learn and grow some more. Now, I'm going to talk about my own experiences that I have been dealing with. And yesterday on my Facebook page, I promised I was going to share something, and I got too busy. I have a lot of personal things going on in my life that are distracting. And unfortunately, many of us can get distracted easily. I know that I am. But that also takes away from our child's education. And it's one thing that I have been most regretful for. Last year, and even now up to this point, we have been battling some personal issues with our old landlord and while we were living there. And it took away all of my time away from Tavin and his schooling. So I simply sat him down at the desk with a bunch of books and a list of things to do every single day. Now, while that seemed great, and while that seems like, exactly what she's saying not to do, it worked for Tavin. Tavin is a very independent learner. He likes to just have something in front of him and just go at it himself. So, every year I try this thing where I can teach him. I have been doing this since he's 3 years old, and he's 8 now. So for 5 years I've been homeschooling, and every year I do the same stupid thing. I set up this beautiful classroom and I get it all nice and ready to go. And the very first day we're in tears and we're arguing and we're fighting. And then the next day I try it again and we're fighting and arguing and he's crying and I'm crying. And then I'm claiming I'm a failure and I'm running and slamming myself into the room and he's crying and he's saying, I always make mommy angry. I'm not good at every subject. Some of you are really good at science. Help me. I'll help you. I've offered this on numerous occasions on my Facebook page to our local homeschooling community. Why are we not helping each other? I have offered my services for free for a very long time. And in the very, very beginning, it was incredibly successful. I did a story time for older kids. I did communications for kids, which was fantastic. I did fine arts for kids. And everything was wonderful. And then all of a sudden, everybody started getting busy. I'm too busy. My schedule's too full. I can't do that. We have too much on our plate. Then you wonder why you're alone. Well, and I wonder why I'm alone. Why can't I get help with somebody to help Tavin with science? Because I'm not a science person. I am more of an artsy person, and Tavin is more of an artsy person. Why can't I get somebody to help me with math with him? I'm apparently not doing well, and this is where everything goes cray-cray for us. Handwriting is a big deal for Tavin. He started learning to write at 3, but then things got really out of control in our homeschooling life, and I let him just play. And we let handwriting go. And every year, handwriting, penmanship, has been the tears beyond tears. And I still can't get him to write properly. Now, I'll tell you what I'm good at. I love history. I love fine arts, and I love to incorporate those subjects together. I also like to do extracurricular activities. I like to do storytelling. I love to read. I love reading comprehension. I love to write. I'm a writer. I'm a published writer. I used to run a very successful blog at one time, but I also was a freelance writer for many years. I was a music journalist for many years and led a very wild, crazy life. So I have writing experience. I have a lot to offer your children. What do you have to offer for me? Homeschooling shouldn't be, we homeschool to seclude ourselves. That's not what homeschooling is for. Homeschooling isn't about, I need to pile up tons and tons of books and here you go. And that's what we're doing. I am a curriculum hoarder. And I never use any of it because Tavin doesn't like it. Tavin isn't one of those people that wants to sit down and read. He's not one of those people that just, wants to be taught the lesson as it goes on. Now, we looked at the fun schooling curriculum, and that looked really good, but I wasn't really particularly fond of the way the books were done. They were a little clunky for me, but I took the concept of what do you want to learn about this year, and that's what we're doing. Now, that's outside of the box in the area of which we're talking. I'm going to stay on topic here, believe it or not, and I'm going to ask you, what can you offer your homeschooling community where it is lacking? How can I help you, help me, help me, help you, help me, help you? From the Santa Claus 3. It's getting about that time too, isn't it? But we can help each other. Why don't we have a support group in Kenosha, Wisconsin? Why is there only one homeschooling group? And when I was in that homeschooling group, I couldn't get anybody to come together. There were specific events that were going on, and that was fine for some people, but a lot of people had to cancel those events because nobody would sign up. What is happening? I know my friend down in Georgia, she belongs to a great co-op. She is part of the Classical Conversations and absolutely loves it. We can't afford it. That is a really expensive program. However, I have offered our homeschooling community here in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I had said, let's get together. Let's help each other. I'll do fine arts. I'll do writing, creative writing. Somebody do science. Somebody do math. Like a lead balloon, people. And then I offered my services. I said, poetry in the park. Anybody want to do poetry in the park? I thought it would be so much fun. We'd do online lessons, and then we'd get together once a week at the band shell down by the lake and read poetry out loud. Didn't go anywhere. I'm too busy. My plate's too full. And I had offered this in summer to prepare people. This is what I'm going to offer this year. And nothing. You can't complain about how busy you are and how overwhelmed you are and how many fires you're putting out if you're not willing to participate in other groups that can help you. I offered my help at our local homeschooling association or club, and they didn't want it anymore. They were all too busy. And so I just quit. I didn't want to pay for money where I was not getting anything in return for that money. I was giving, and getting nothing in return. Enrichment programs are a wonderful thing, but they only do it through the homeschooling clubs. I'm willing to do enrichment classes. I think it's a great idea. In fact, I think it's so great that the homeschooling group that I belonged to at one time is now thinking of expanding it not just to 6 weeks, but taking it into spring. I think you should. I think that's where the investment is because those are enrichment. We can't just be doing math, reading, writing, science, history every day. There's so much more to homeschooling. That's why we do it. We don't want to be like school. We want our child to have a rich, fulfilling education that builds their character and makes them people of worth, that's going to walk out into the world and people are going to notice something different about our children. They're going to look at our children and go, maybe I should be homeschooling. My child isn't that well-behaved, educated, polite, thoughtful, kind, and respectful. The public school wants to teach tolerance, but homeschoolers want to teach love. We should be. But we have to give of ourselves, and we have to invest in ourselves. We have to say, where is my worth, and where can I help you? And we have to invest in our children's education, which means we have to know what they're doing. We can't just plop them off and be like, okay, see you later. I'm going to go, play bingo on my phone. So things were not working for us. Because again, I tried that whole school system, which does not work for Tavin. And in the process, I had to start questioning myself. I had to question me. Like, I know this is what I want to do, but it's not working for Tavin. I have to think about how this will work for Tavin, not for me. Because this isn't about me, it's about Tavin. And so I had to let go of a lot of things that I want to do, how I perceive how his education should look. I had to let go of my plans, and I had to rethink everything. And I had to let go of the reins. And I had to let Tavin decide what works for Tavin. I can't do that. I don't know. Only Tavin knows what works best for him. Online schooling has been something that really works well for Tavin. He loves animation. He loves to watch videos. He loves TV. He loves I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke. He loves those kinds of things. So this year we asked him, what do you want to learn? He wants to learn how to build. He loves Minecraft, so he wants to learn how to actually build. I don't know how to do that. Kenosha moms, dads, can you teach a building class? A basic building class for kids? Because I am telling you, I bet you my son's not the only one who loves Minecraft and would love to take Minecraft and make it a reality. But I don't know how to do that. But I bet you some of you do. Okay? I'm just saying. Enrichment. What does your child want to learn? If you don't know how to do it, find somebody who does. And be willing to offer your services to other homeschooling parents because maybe they can swap with you. I just got done talking to somebody yesterday who gave me her Matthew C. rods because we are learning a new concept of math. Everything I've tried has not been working. So I decided I was going to use these Matthew C. rods. Everybody's been bragging about them. And I said, can you teach my son math? Because she was telling me all these things of what she did with them. And, I really was serious because I'm not good at math. But I've tried everything I can. Abacus, marbles, beans, dice games, you name it. I've tried old school math, new school math. I've tried everything. And it's not a subject that's easy for Tavin. So anyway, I had to look into Time for Learning. It was one of the only programs that offered exactly what Tavin would like. Now, some of you are going, oh my gosh, it's Common Core aligned. It's not. but it does follow the standards, the federal regulations and standards of Common Core, which means it scores your child's work. That's it. It's just showing you standard-wise where Tavin stands versus anyone else who's doing the same subject. That's all Time for Learning does. It is not Common Core aligned. It is not this funny, funky math and all this other goofy stuff about, things. Political, religious things. We can still incorporate those things in our own lives. Time for Learning is only language arts. It has a language arts extension. It also includes science and math and social studies. So right now he's learning about the Vikings, but Tavin also chose to learn about Greek mythology because he wanted the Greek mythology pact in Minecraft. Your children will have the weirdest concept of why they want to learn something. And mine was, I want the Greek mythology skin pack. I want the Greek mythology world in Minecraft. I don't know Minecraft very well. My husband does, which has been a blessing for me because they work together on the Minecraft Greek mythology. But I'm teaching him the Greek mythology, but I'm learning myself. I knew nothing about Greek mythology. So I get to learn Greek mythology and I am thoroughly enjoying it. That's how I came to love fine arts. That's how I came to love history. I never had a love for learning until I started homeschooling and became self-taught. I'm a self-taught educator. I am learning as we go. I went to school to be an elementary school teacher. Then I decided I was going to pursue high school because I wanted to use my writing somehow. And they didn't really do a whole lot of creative writing in the lower grades. So I decided I was going to try my hand at high school education. They don't prepare you for how to deal with different learning styles. In fact, some teachers will claim there's no such thing. And us homeschoolers know that that is absolutely not true. Especially those of you who have multiple children and have to teach multiple children of multiple stylings of learning skills. Yeah, you have it rough. So you need to get involved. You need to find out what you're good at, what you're not good at. Offer your services, swap them, get involved in a co-op, join a co-op, start a co-op. I tried starting a co-op. It went nowhere like a lead balloon, but I'm still willing to do it if you're willing to do it because I need help. Don't you need help? Or are you just so perfect in your homeschooling world that you don't need any help? You're all good. Let's join together. Let's work this out together. We as homeschooling moms are the ones who are not socialized. Our children are socialized perfectly fine, but it's us parents who have become secluded and isolated, and we've chosen to do it ourselves. We have made the very bad mistake of isolating ourselves and in the process isolating our children from the education that they truly deserve. So today, invest in your learning, invest in your child's learning, and invest in opening yourself up to the idea that you don't have to do it all.